the sweet spot for the Democrats is that they're so entrenched with the existing financial system and the banking lobby that they have to stay pro stablecoin. But I think you fight everything else. I think my view is, and I said this to somebody a few weeks back, if you think there's an over 50% chance of Bitcoin having an over 50% correction before the next midterms, then there's zero reasons for the Democrats to be pro the industry, because essentially the narrative that they end up with, and again, this is just kind of assuming that the regular cycles play out, right, is that Bitcoin kind of goes up to 200, goes up, hits some high. There's a 65%, 70% drop. And I think that scenario is one where it's very easy to paint Trump as sort of like a reckless person. And with the Bitcoin treasury companies and the IPOs and things, I think that will have a significant impact on the actual US economy. And I think if Trump has that kind of scenario before the midterms and you're the Democrats, and even if you know, like, okay, maybe I would say there's probably a 50% chance of this happening. So if you're this political party, it's like, I would be willing to play that. I'd be willing to sit around on the sidelines for as long as possible to see if that ball is in play. Because if that scenario takes place, it's just very easy to make Trump seem like the villain. He's crooked Trump. He was in bed with this industry. This industry's now crushed our economy. And again, like we've seen with the Mandami stuff in New York City, this idea of socialism, being like very normal or kind of good within like the, millennial and Zoomer generation is it's pretty entrenched, right? A lot of my friends, I'm from Massachusetts originally. There is a deep reverence for those ideologies. That is you can see in these election results, right? That they keep coming back. Bernie Sanders being one. And so, yeah, I don't think we're out of the woods yet. And I think that monster appearing is very likely, it seems.
I think it comes in a different form. I think they abandoned the whole the Elizabeth Warren wing of the criminalize it, lock them up, these people are evil and bad. We'll probably move more towards I would say stay out of the way. We're not going to be your enemy. And more of we need to regulate and control it and handle like these, worst case things that are happening right now. I think, and this is the thing about the Bitcoin treasury, or if the government starts holding treasuries, that is only going to happen as long as, certain parties are in power. When it flips to the other side, those things are gone. They're going to be fire sailed. They don't care about the money. They want to make a point, and they don't want it on the balance sheet. So that's what I would expect to happen. If there's any Bitcoin on the balance sheets, it gets sold off instantly. If there's companies that are operating within the U.S. borders, you're putting regulations and restrictions and things like that. You're not trying to kill the industry, perhaps as violently as it was before. And I think that's really what you're doing.
The stable coins and then sort of suppress the open source part of the industry like very heavily, right? There's a lot of things you could do. Yeah. And I think that's why I think the stablecoin bill really, it's again, I don't think it's super positive for the industry. I think it's positive for America, and I don't know. I'm curious your thoughts on this because I actually was saying this morning. I think like the emergence of the America First Bitcoiners is they're kind of like a weird subset, right? Where it's like it's very clear that their goal here is to advance America using Bitcoin, right? And they're you don't think so?
I'm a little skeptical. I think they're because I don't understand how that actually plays out. Where you see the treasury
like that's the underlying thesis.
Numbers don't add up.
Don't you think that's the underlying thesis behind like sort of the Bohines, David Sachs faction? It's like they are here to use Bitcoin to America's advantage. That is the reason that they're crafting these policies like in this way.
I mean, it's just a coincidence that they probably all have massive Bitcoin bags to pump too. So I think that's a bigger part of it. Is like if you can front run it and then use someone else's money to buy it, you're going to clearly benefit considerably.
Well, but there's
maybe you justify it in your mind that it's for their own good too. But
the benefit for the U.S. is it has this massive debt problem, right? Like this has been the kind of the linchpin of America First Bitcoin movement, right? I just want to, I'll sit with that for a second, because the America First Bitcoiners are not Bitcoin first, right? And Bitcoin, the Bitcoin culture has tried to maintain a group of people who are Bitcoin first, whatever that means, right? And there's been a lot of debate about that, but that's what we've tried to maintain. And then the America First Bitcoiners are a bit of a, again, to the extent that they are Bitcoiners, right? I mean, they do seem to want to use the industry and the technology as a way to further their own ends. And I just think that they're, because of that, a little bit of a suspect group.
Yeah, I don't know how the math works. Oh, we have a massive debt problem. It's scales, orders of magnitude beyond. You'd have to have the most bullish situation possible with Bitcoin, and
Well, but the bullish scenario is that the United States dollar becomes the global currency of the internet, and it destroys all the other currencies, and all of that capital flows to U.S. Treasuries and the existing financial system and to America, and the rest of the countries lose. I mean, I think that's pretty clear. Like, that's the scenario that the America First Bitcoiners want, right? That, like, in their mind, they're in a 100-year long war with China, for supremacy of the world, and like this, this is their master plan, right? Like, I really think that that's their view, and they see Bitcoin as playing a role to that ends, right? And that's what's always kind of worried me about that group.
yeah, no, I mean, it's like I don't know how much Bitcoin you'd have to acquire to even come close to making a dent in the debt. I mean, I think the whole game plan of doing this is being able to export as much debt as possible to as many places around the world as possible. I mean, that is clearly the only way to even survive right now.
Plus the Bitcoin, and then it sort of evens
How
out
much?
eventually.
Let's say they had 50% of the supply of Bitcoin. What price of Bitcoin would you need to get out of this hole? I mean, it still would probably be at least 100 million a coin to even come close. It's such crazy numbers. I mean, the debt numbers are so huge and growing so fast. It's it can't happen. Bitcoin can be like a small part, perhaps, but I don't think it's anyway a solution to getting out of that. Like it's how much more gains do we have left without like destroying the dollar, right? Like if you destroy the dollar, that's kind of game zero.
Ah,
Game's over for the government.
you
Then
sound a little bearish here. You don't sound like you're maybe you to get more bullish, like Adam Back, just start raising tens of thousands of coins. But you don't see a scenario where Bitcoin is like Sailor. You think Sailor's view of $37 million Bitcoin? You think that's outlandish? You don't think that?
I'm saying that was with if you owned half the coins. So that was like even then it's still ridiculous. I think 37. I mean, like, are we talking 37 million nominal or 37 million today's dollars too? So right, that's the other part. Is like the dollar will blow up at some point, probably in the next 50 years. Um, there's only so many places you can export it. You can only spend uh, beyond your means for so long before it does catch up to you. When will it blow up? It's a lot of the doomers have predicted it would have happened a long time before now, but it's if you go look at a scale of 50 to 100 years, it probably will be sometime at least in that time frame. Now, $37 million a year, sure. What's the average income in the country at that time? $5 million a year. Then that doesn't. We're not like much more bullish than we are today. But if you're talking real terms, that's pretty pretty big of a jump up there, right?